Hey guys, I'm Dasha,
Ian.
and today we're going to be talking about the motherboard and its parts and functions. As we all know, when you're about to install a new processor, you'll need to find the CPU socket. So, Ian, where is the CPU socket?
Here's the CPU socket.
So, the CPU socket acts as the brain of the computer, processing the information, tasks needed to run in your software, games, or operating system. Next is the CPU fan and heatsink. So, this is the CPU fan, and this is the heatsink. So, once the CPU is securely in place, the next step is to attach the CPU fan and heatsink like this. So guys, me and Ian already attached the CPU fan and heatsink to the motherboard. So these mounting points on the motherboard let you secure the cooling components that help release the heat generated from the CPU. It is important to keep the processor cool because it can prevent to overheating, which can lead to slowing down or even damaging your system.
So the next is 20-pin ATX power connector. So when hooking up the power supply, you'll plug the main power cable into the motherboard here. So this is the 20-pin ATX power connector, which provides electricity to the motherboard and its parts. So the next is DRAM memory slot. So if this is the DRAM memory slot, if you're upgrading or installing RAM, you'll slot it into this long connectors. Those are the DRAM memory slot where your computer's memory goes to help programs run faster.
So, hi guys. So, I'm going to tackle about the IDA. It is a standard interface for connecting storage devices like hard drive and optical drives to computers, also known as ATA or PATA. IDE technology integrates the drive controller into the storage device itself rather than requiring a separate controller card or NordVPN. Connects old hard drives and CD or DVD drives to the motherboard using wide ribbon cables, mostly used in older PCs before SATA became common transfers data between storage drives and the CPU or memory for processing. Next one is the North bridge with a heatsink refers to the physical component on a computer motherboard called the North bridge, which is equipped with a heatsink to dissipate heat. The North bridge is a crucial chip that manage high-speed data transfer between the CPU memory and sometimes the graphics card. Since it handles significant data flow, it can be generate considerable heat, making a heatsink necessary for temperature regulation. A chipset that manage a communication between the CPU, RAM, and graphics card. Works like a traffic manager for high-speed data transfers. The heatsink is there to absorb the dissipate heat, preventing the chip from overheating.
The next is the accelerated graphic ports, which is the AGP. AGP was a high-speed interface specially designed for connecting graphics card to computer's motherboard. How does AGP works? AGP offer the direct point-to-point connections between the graphics card and the CPU. Unlike the PCI, which was shared with other devices, this dedicated connection minimizes the bottlenecks, the reduced latency, and resulting in smoother and faster graphics rendering. The next is the South Bridge. South Bridge is a crucial component of a computer motherboard chipset, also known as the Input-Output Controller Hub, which is the ICH, or more recently, the Platform Controller Hub, or the PCH. Its primary role is to manage communication with the slower peripheral devices and handle various input-output functions. How does Southbridge work? The Southbridge main job is to handle communication between the CPU and slower speed peripherals. It acts as the motherboard's traffic manager, directing data flow and from various devices.
So the next is a PCI slot. here. So PCI slot, or also known as a peripheral component interconnect, so it is used to install or add extra parts like sound cards, Wi-Fi cards, internet cards, or even graphics cards. So next is CMO is backup battery. So what is a CMO is backup battery? CMO is backup battery, or also known as a complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It is a small round battery that keeps your computer's time, date, and setting safe even when it is turned off. So next is connectors for integrated peripherals. These are here. So these ports are the back that are used to plug in your keyboards, mouse, monitor, speakers, USB devices, internet cables, and older devices like printers.
Hi everyone, I'm Erica.
And I am John Carl.
We're explaining now the power supply.
So today I will explain to you about the SATA power connector. So imagine you bought a new hard drive to upgrade your computer storage. So this is the SATA power and this is the SATA data. So this is the SATA power connector. So this is the connected to power supply and this is the SATA data. This is one. So it is connected to the motherboard. So the SATA connector is the most advanced to this day. This is used for SSDs and DVD drive to connect for storage, and this is a 15-pin power connector, and this is the most common connector to this day. Okay.
So the 4-pin MNCHS connectors, this one, is a type of power connectors commonly found inside desktop computers. It has 4 large round pins inside the white plastic housings. It's been used since the early days of PCs to provide direct current and power from the power supply's units to internal components. So it delivers plus 5 volts red wire, this one, and plus 12 volts yellow wire, this one, and plus 2 grounds wires black to power device. It's often used for older hardwares, optical drives like CD, DVDs, and some funds.
Hi everyone, I'm Manager Vivo Lalaki, and today I'm going to discuss the 4-pin floppy connector. If you find an old floppy drive lying around, you'll see a tiny 4-pin connector that powers it. That's the 4-pin floppy connector. Very rarely used today since floppy drives are outdated, and it is also known as the bridge connector. It is a small power connector primarily used for 3.5-inch floppy disk drives. It is distinctly smaller than the 4-pin MNCHS connector. It has polarized with designs with a 2.50 mm pitch between pins, preventing incorrect insertion. This is the 4-pin. It is really small since it's already outdated till to these days. The connector features 4 pins with this typical pin out, which are the pin 1, pin 2 and 3, and pin 4. Pin 1 is the plus 5 or the red wire, this one, and the pins 2 and 3, the ground or black wires, this 2 in the middle, this one, and the pin 4 or plus 12V or the yellow one, this one. Although it carries both 5V and 12V lines, the 5V supply is primarily used for power floppy drives. Due to the outdated of floppy drives, this connector is rarely seen in current computer system, except in virtual computing or especially legacy setups. This smaller connector remains identifiable by its size and distinct pin arrangements, making it easy to connect properly when needed. That's all.
So hello everyone, my name is Elena Fantas, and today I'm gonna explain to you what is the 8-pin power connector. So the CPU power connector 8-pin, or we also call EPS EPS12B connector is a dedicated plug on a computer's power supply unit that delivers extra power directly to the CPU through the motherboard. Its main job is to supply stable, high current power to the CPU, especially during heavy workloads. So, for example, if you forgot to plug in the 8-pin CPU power connector to your PC, it might turn on for a moment, but it will definitely fail to boot because the CPU isn't getting the strong, steady power it needs to run. Plugging it in gives the processor its dedicated power supply so it can work properly.
So, the next is the PCIe power connector. Imagine you're building your dream PC, everything's in place, RGB lights, fast processor, powerful graphics card. You press the button and nothing happens. No boot, no display, just silence. Chances are you forget the PCIe power slot, power connector. PCIe stands for Peripheral Component Interconnect Express. It's a high-speed interface that connects expansion components like your graphics card to the motherboard. But for powerful GPUs, the PCIe slot alone isn't enough. So this cable here connects your power supply directly to your graphics card. That's on top of what the motherboard provides. But modern GPUs need more than that. Some requires an 8-pin here connector or even two of them, the 6-pin and the 8-pin, to get enough power up to 300 watts or more. Without the PCIe power connector, your GPU won't run properly. It might not boot or it could crash under load. Worse, it could damage your components. And here's a common mistake. Plugging in the wrong cable. CPU power connector looks similar to PCIe ones, but they're wired differently. Always double check before connecting. So remember, check your GPU's power requirements, make sure your PSU has the right PCIe connectors, and use the correct cable, the 6-pin and the 8-pin, or even both. In short, the PCIe power connector may be small, but it plays a critical role in powering your GPU and keeping your system running smoothly. If you're building or uploading a PC, understanding this connector is key to avoiding problems and maximizing performance.
Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Hamora and today I'll be explaining the 24 pins in a power supply. So let's say you built a PC setup with all the assembled parts but it won't turn on. That's where the 24 pins comes in by plugging it into the motherboard just like this, as you can see. So the 24 pin connector is a power supply unit or the piece from the power supply PSU or the main power connector. And it provides power to the motherboard. It's usually the largest ever connector coming from the power supply, and then it's used to supply power and various components on the motherboard such as the CPU, RAM, and the chipset. This connector typically carries multiple voltage lines including 12 volts, 5 volts, and 3.3 volts, which are necessary for proper functioning of the motherboard and its components.